1995 Autocar Car of the Year. Car Magazine Best Designed Car. The world's most beautiful automobile award. An Engineer of the Year for Alfa Romeo Chief Engineer Bruno Senna, the man responsible for the Alfa Romeo GTV and Spider. More importantly though, number 29 in Jeremy Clarkson's Top 100 Cars in 2001. Not bad for an 80s design. Yes, 80s. The first design for the 916, the platform which gave us the GTV and Spider, was penned in 1987 by Enrico Fumia of Pininfarina fame. The first cars left showrooms in 1995, 8 years later. The 80s and 90s, though, were very different decades when it came to cars. I'll skip to the end and tell you that the 916 was one of Alfa Romeo's biggest success stories. Indeed, the GTV handed the baton to the Brera in 2004. But how did this sports car, largely unchanged, span 3 decades? The 916 Alphas were hardly short of competition. The BMW Z3, Lotus Elan and Toyota MR2, just 3 of the cars sharing the hearts and minds of Europe's sports car motoring public. The GTV though, with its 2+2 cabin layout, meant that you could experience all the performance and the passion you'd expect of an Alfa Romeo, and so could the family. None of you though would be kept in comfort courtesy of Pininfarina, whose interior proposal for the car was rejected by the then boss of Fiat, Vittorio Idella. What we're left with is a bit of a mismatch of ideas and designs, but it kind of works. These Momo seats are as handsome as they are supportive, and they've worn pretty well over the years as well. And those gauges angled towards the driver in the centre of the dash shout sports car. I tell you what though, I don't know how Jeremy Clarkson even fitted in this thing, let alone raved about it. I've got some serious seat reclining action going on, and I'm Harron-sized. The looks of the 916 have always divided opinion. It's quirky enough to be an Alfa Romeo, that's the main thing. But it's not undeniably beautiful, like many of the cars to have worn the Pininfarina badge over the years. The GTV's sculpted profile supposedly did what other manufacturers were doing with spoilers at the time, aerodynamically at least. Some might have argued though that something stuck on the boot would have benefited the wedge-like 916 waistline, and Alfa did answer those people with later limited edition examples. But is it the simplicity that makes the GTV such an exciting car? Simplicity does win when all's said and done and you're behind the wheel. This 3-litre V6 with its 4 valves per cylinder delivers 220 horsepower in tire-shreddingly dramatic fashion. And it gives you great feedback as well through the steering, the suspension, the brakes are keen. It allows you to use caveman tactics to keep it under control, should you want to. And that's a good thing, surely. The thing is, cavemen were not known for their sophistication. And while neither were 90s motorists for the most part, things were starting to change in that department by the mid-noughties. And yet not a great deal had changed with the GTV, except some more power for later models. I've come up with 2 things that I love and 2 things that I don't love so much about the Alfa Romeo GTV. So let's get the bad things out of the way first. Firstly, it should have been rear-wheel drive. It handles very well for a front-wheel drive sports car with 220 brake horsepower, but it should just handle well. There should be no excuses and no understeer. And then there's that hole that the gear stick literally disappears into. It's horrible and completely inexcusable. And the good things. Well, firstly, the GTV has frameless door windows. I know, so do a lot of other cars. But I haven't ever owned a car with frameless door windows, and crucially for me, Kit in Knight Rider had them. So every time I open the door, I feel like David Hasselhoff, in some ways. Secondly though, every other car manufacturer, please take note. This is how an engine should look. There should be shiny bits. And the shiny bits should not be covered in plastic. It's beautiful. I could actually stand here and look at it all day.